Right now on Morning News Now, escalating battle. House Republicans vote to authorize their impeachment inquiry into Joe Biden. The move is part of the Republican probe into the president that has so far produced no evidence of wrongdoing. That vote coming just hours after Hunter Biden defied a Republican subpoena, calling for him to appear in a closed-door deposition. We're breaking down what it all means and what comes next. Plus, President Biden met with the families of American hostages as he faces criticism for his handling of the war between Israel and Hamas. The delicate meeting taking place today after Biden offered his strongest criticism of Israel since the war began. Supreme Court showdown. The fight over the most commonly used abortion pill is heading to the nation's highest court. What their decision could mean for reproductive rights across the country. And new year, new movies. We're taking a look at some of the most anticipated movies coming out in 2024, including some sequels. Get this, almost 40 years in the making.
You got to have the sequels, right? We got to have revisit the things that have been made and remade.
We were just talking about some of those yesterday, things that should come back that could be kind of cool.
Exactly. Looking forward to that. All right. Good morning. Good to have you with us. I'm Joe Fryer.
And I'm Savannah Sellers. Thanks for joining us. We begin this morning in Washington, where an impeachment inquiry into President Biden is now officially underway.
The GOP-controlled House voted 221 to 212 along party lines to authorize that inquiry into the president. Republicans believe the investigation will give them the ability to use the courts to enforce their subpoenas. Also on Wednesday, Republicans attempted to depose the president's son, Hunter Biden. They argued the inquiry vote would help them hold Hunter in contempt of Congress if he didn't show up. The president's son did defy the subpoena. Instead, he went before reporters outside the Capitol, proclaiming his father's innocence, lashing out at Republicans, and offering to testify at a public hearing, not behind closed doors. For their part, Republicans now say it's clear which questions they want answered.
We've spent months in this investigation accumulating evidence. We have a simple question that I think an overwhelming majority of Americans have. What did the Bidens do to receive the tens of millions of dollars from our enemies around the world?
Let's bring in NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Ali Vitale for more on this. Ali, good morning. So House Republicans pushed this vote forward despite not yet showing any concrete evidence of wrongdoing or influence peddling by the president. So what is the latest? What more are Republicans saying about this impeachment inquiry vote?
Look, you guys want to talk about sequels. It's impeachment, the sequel, but the shoe is on the other foot. Now it's Republicans trying to level impeachment, or at this point, impeachment inquiry charges against a Democratic president. Last Congress, we saw this against former President Donald Trump. And I think what's so striking about this one is that opening this impeachment inquiry on the part of Republicans is their attempt to better enforce their subpoenas. They say once this goes to court, they want to be able to have that extra leverage. You had all Republicans, every single one, show up on the floor yesterday and vote to push forward into an impeachment inquiry phase. All of them jumped together on this, even though we expected at least one Republican to say no. Ken Buck ultimately voted with the rest of his party. And this is what the key committee chairmen say that shows. Watch.
The House has now spoken, and I think pretty loudly, pretty clearly, with every single Republican voting in favor of moving into this official impeachment inquiry phase of our constitutional duty to do oversight. We now think this helps us get the witnesses, the key witnesses that we want. There were three names mentioned in the resolutions, 918, 917 resolutions, three names. One, of course, was the President of the United States, Joe Biden.
Jim Jordan, one of the key chairmen leading this investigation, has been investigating people like Hunter Biden as well as Joe Biden's brother throughout the time that Republicans have held the gavel, but they have yet to actually have evidence that substantively links these business transactions to the former vice president, now current president. And so I think the way to look at this impeachment inquiry, and many Republicans have tried to tamp it down, it is not an impeachment, at least not yet. And it really is, in some ways, a solution in search of a problem. Republicans continuing to gather evidence for the crime they say they need evidence of.
Let's talk now about the Hunter Biden side of things and what we saw and heard from him. So outside the Capitol yesterday, he decides not to testify in a closed-door deposition, instead make these comments, though there. Walk us through this back and forth of him refusing to testify behind closed doors and Republicans refusing to have his testimony be public.
So this is a tough one, and it kind of bogs down into what's typical in Congress and what's typical in congressional investigations. I think for all of us, this is pretty fresh because we all watched the January 6th committee throughout the better part of the last 2 years. What typically happens in congressional hearings is you will do a closed-door meeting, a closed-door deposition. The committee will either tape that or take notes on it, and then if they want to move forward into a public forum, that's what will happen. That's what's typical. That's what they asked Hunter Biden for. Hunter Biden, through his attorneys, said, no, we're not going to participate behind closed doors. We feel you're going to mince our words too much, and you're going to put this through a partisan lens. Of course, that's what we've seen throughout most of this investigating, even if it hasn't been under the official impeachment inquiry title. Hunter Biden instead appearing at the Capitol yesterday, and I believe we have a soundbite of part of what he said. Watch.
My father was not financially involved in my business, not as a practicing lawyer, not as a board member of Burisma, not in my partnership with a Chinese private businessman, not in my investments at home nor abroad.
Hunter Biden making the point that his father was not involved. Republicans, for their part, seizing on two things specifically. The first, that they're likely to move forward with holding Hunter Biden in contempt of Congress. Of course, we remember how that goes from the moments that we've seen this with people who defied subpoenas during the January 6th committee. All of that goes through the committee, and then it goes to the House open floor. That's going to be a process that we're likely to see in the early part of next year. And the second thing they seized on was his specific language there when he said his father was not involved with his financial business dealings. That's something we're going to hear about a lot, too.
And, Allie, real quick, what are we hearing from President Biden about all this?
Look, they are supportive of what Hunter said. That's through Mike Memoli's reporting of talking to folks in the White House. But look, there are some who might believe that impeachment is politically something that they can make something of. And then there are others who are concerned about the fact that casual viewers might see impeachment and the word Biden next to each other, and it could become politically problematic. This is one of those things. No White House wants to go into an impeachment. It's not clear that's where they're going yet, but it's likely that over the course of the next year, we watch Republicans continue to march towards an official impeachment, even though right now it's just an inquiry.
All right, Allie, thank you so much.
Well, the Biden administration is also facing criticism over its handling of the war between Israel and Hamas. The U.S. was one of 10 countries to vote against a United Nations resolution demanding a ceasefire in the war.
The vote comes just 1 week after the U.S. blocked another ceasefire resolution in the UN Security Council. Israel's officials condemned the resolution vote, calling it disgraceful. Prime Minister Netanyahu is also doubling down on his plans for life in Gaza following the war. In a public address yesterday, the Israeli leader said the Palestinian Authority cannot be allowed to take over the enclave after the fall of Hamas, something the Biden administration has proposed.
NBC News foreign correspondent Raf Sanchez is in Tel Aviv with the latest for us. Hey, Raf, good morning. So National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, he is headed to Israel today to meet with Netanyahu as well as other key officials. So it comes after that vote that we mentioned, but also after President Biden's harshest criticism yet of Netanyahu and what he had called indiscriminate bombing. What is the goal here out of these conversations for the U.S.?
Yeah, so Sullivan, the latest senior administration official to come to Israel since October 7th, his immediate priority, guys, is a technical one. The main crossing between Israel and Gaza, it's way down in the south. It's called Kerem Shalom. It's been closed since October 7th. And both the White House and humanitarian organizations are telling Israel it needs to open. It is the only way to get sufficient aid to civilians inside of Gaza. Right now, there are about 200 aid trucks going into Gaza every day through Egypt. That is less than half what was going in before the war. The need is so much greater now than it was before the war. So Sullivan's first priority, trying to get Kerem Shalom open. There is this public confrontation between the Biden administration, between Israel, about a two-state solution, about potentially what happens in Gaza after the war. But there is also this tension about Israel's conduct right now inside of Gaza. You have the president behind closed doors, two donors, saying that Israel bombed indiscriminately, which is a pretty serious charge. The messages, though, are kind of mixed because you have John Kirby, the spokesman for the National Security Council, saying in public before the cameras that Israel is doing more than most modern militaries to reduce civilian casualties inside of Gaza. Not really clear at this point where the administration's messaging is. But in terms of what we're seeing on the ground, Israel's offensive in the south, in the north, continuing. There are fewer airstrikes than we saw before. The civilian death toll is rising more slowly, but it is still rising. Guys.
So, Ralph, this all comes as the UN issues new reports that say the flow of humanitarian aid has largely stopped. The agency also says at least half of the population in Gaza is starving right now. What is the situation inside the refugee camps?
It's dire. The UN is really running out of words. They've used apocalyptic, they've used catastrophic. I was speaking to a woman in Gaza. She says their family right now is getting by on one piece of bread every day. And you see in this war, as you see in all wars and all humanitarian catastrophes across the world, parents doing the same thing. They are going without food to try to make sure that their kids have something to eat. Guys, it's sunny here today, but we are in the winter now, and there has been heavy winter rains over the last couple of weeks. People living in those refugee camps in the south say that they are ankle deep in water a lot of the time. There is just no way to get the water out. There is disease spreading as a result of that. It is a dire, dire situation, and you have basically 1 million people, half the population of the Gaza Strip, pressed right up against the Egyptian border now. There is literally nowhere else for them to go at this point as Israel's offensive continues in that southern city of Khan Yunis, telling people to get out of their homes there. Guys.
Raf, quickly before we let you go, we do want to point out that yesterday families of hostages visited President Biden at the White House. What came of that meeting, and do we know if there's any chance for negotiations to continue in that regard?
So there's no formal talks going on right now in Qatar, who have been the mediators of the previous ceasefire, which broke down 2 weeks ago. It does feel here in Israel like the political conditions might exist for another one of those temporary ceasefires. The Israelis have made a lot of progress on the ground, they would say, in the south of Gaza, destroying Hamas tunnels. And there is a lot of pressure right now on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his government from the families of those 135 hostages to do more to get their loved ones out. Guys.
Right. Raf Sanchez, we appreciate your reporting. Thank you.
Back here in the U.S., President Biden did meet privately at the White House with the families of 8 American hostages still being held by Hamas. NBC News White House correspondent Ali Rafa joins us now with more. So, Ali, what was the hope going into yesterday's meeting, and what do we know about what they talked about?
Yeah, good morning, guys. Well, we know that these family members of what is believed to be 8 Americans among the 135 still being held in Gaza, held by Hamas. We know they've met virtually with the president and administration officials before, but this was the first time they were able to meet with him in person and tell him their concerns face to face. Notably, one of the family members in that room was a woman who was held hostage herself, whose husband remains in Hamas's custody. And now this was a closed press meeting. No cameras were allowed in this meeting. No details about specifics were released. But we do know that among the administration officials in the room was Secretary of State Antony Blinken. And the president tweeted about the meeting afterwards, saying, quote, "I just sat down with the loved ones of Americans taken hostage by Hamas to hear their stories. I reassured them that I will continue doing everything possible to secure the release of their family members and that we will not give up hope." Family members met with the press afterwards, and here's what one of them had to say.
We felt before, and we were only reinforced in seeing and believing that we could have no better friend in Washington or in the White House than President Biden himself and his administration.
Those family members going on to say that since a day or two after the October 7th attacks, they were contacted by the U.S. and Israeli governments, and that communication has been frequent and ongoing since that day, you guys.
Ali, what else did we hear when the family spoke with reporters afterwards?
Well, several of them said that they didn't want to share the private contents of that meeting. But one of the family members that spoke was the great aunt of Abigail Adon. You may remember hearing her name a few weeks ago. She was the 4-year-old girl. She turned 4 years old in Hamas captivity, was released a few days later. This little girl's parents were murdered by Hamas on October 7th. Listen to what her aunt Liz Naftali had to tell reporters.
They are just not numbers, and they're just not faces. They are sons. They are sons. They are grandparents. They are mothers. And that is what the president and his team understand.
Her aunt saying that the president and his team have been, quote, bringing out light out of darkness. She asked the world to continue praying for her and the other family members, as well as the hostages, saying that they are still hoping for a Christmas miracle to be able to get their family members home, guys.
All right. Ali Rafa, thank you so much for your reporting this morning. Appreciate it.
Well, in the battle over abortion rights, the Supreme Court is taking up another high-stakes legal fight over reproductive care, agreeing to hear arguments over access to the widely used abortion pill mifepristone.
The drug is used to terminate unwanted pregnancies, and it's also used to care for women going through a miscarriage. The case could lead to a definitive decision on whether mifepristone will continue to be easily available, including by mail.
Michelle B. Goodwin joins us now. She's a professor of constitutional law and global health policy at Georgetown Law School. Good to see you again. Good morning. So this case does not directly address any actual right to abortion itself. This is actually about the drug itself. Remind us the details of this case and what that focus means.
So this case stems from an action brought by a group of plaintiffs that said that they would be deeply offended and also harmed if they had to treat individuals post-abortion. Their case went before a judge in Amarillo, Texas, the lone sitting judge in that area, Matthew Kaczmarek, and that judge gave them a very broad and sweeping ruling that mifepristone could be removed from the marketplace. Now, this was quite shocking in that their claim also included the fact that they claimed that mifepristone had been rushed to the market by the FDA. They also claimed that the drug was harmful and ineffectual. This was just simply not accurate. The year that the FDA had placed mifepristone, approved it for placement on the market, it had been under review for nearly 5 years as compared to about a year and a half for other drugs that were approved that same year. The other thing is that at the year in which it was approved for the marketplace, it had already been used in Europe for a long time. And at this point, it's been used 23 years in the United States. So there is substantial data to challenge those claims, and it has about a 99% effectiveness rate and very, very, very low rate of morbidity associated with it. You know, the Supreme Court itself has recognized that an abortion is much safer than a pregnancy. You're 14 times more likely to die carrying a pregnancy to term than by having an abortion, including with using this drug, to just give some level setting on that. Now there is a challenge by the Biden administration as well as the maker of this drug, and that's where we are. After one last piece, the Fifth Circuit took up this case, which was not to grant everything that the plaintiffs had wanted, which Judge Kaczmarek had granted them, but instead to put the standards back pre-2016 before the FDA expanded the use and availability of mifepristone.
So, Professor, the justices will hear oral arguments early next year. Ruling is expected by the end of June. What will be the situation as far as access to the drug while we're waiting for that decision?
Well, what's so challenging in this particular case is that after the Dobbs decision, the Supreme Court said that matters of abortion would be left to the states, that it would no longer intervene. But what this challenge did was to go before a federal district court judge, and that removal of mifepristone from the marketplace would affect all states, including those states where abortion is legal, like California, New York, Illinois, including those that have passed constitutional amendments. And mifepristone is used now in more than half of the pregnancies in the United States. So if mifepristone were to be removed from the marketplace, it would affect states all across the country. Likely that's not what the Supreme Court would do, but given the Dobbs decision itself, it's a real question mark how far the Supreme Court would go. Let me just say one other thing, is that this is a highly unusual case. That is to say, there's always been deference to the Food and Drug Administration with their scientific review and research of all drugs that come in the market. The worry with a case like this is that there could be any other group that basically shops for a particular judge for a ruling that they would want to remove a drug from the marketplace. Those who are anti-vaccine, for example, could try to find a judge that has anti-vaccination views. This would be very dangerous in the wake of COVID, or there are some people who do not believe that certain prescriptions should be in the marketplace. They too could shop for a judge that would seek to remove certain drugs from the marketplace. And so this is worrying beyond abortion access and rights.
Absolutely. Lots of potential implications. We will stay on it. Professor Michelle B. Goodwin, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Testimony in the New York civil fraud trial of former President Trump, his children, and his company is wrapped up. Closing arguments will take place next month.
The Manhattan courtroom featured 44 days of testimony from dozens of witnesses, including, as you'll remember, the former president himself. Mr. Trump was sued by New York Attorney General Letitia James for $250 million. He stands accused of inflating the values of his business assets to get better rates on loans. Trump has denied all accusations against him.
Let's bring in NBC News legal analyst Danny Ceballos for more on all this. Danny, good morning. So Letitia James, the Attorney General, released a statement after resting her case yesterday. It says in part, and I'll read here, the judge already ruled in our favor and found that Donald Trump engaged in years of significant fraud. This trial revealed the full extent of that fraud. She's referring to a ruling the judge made before the trial started, saying Trump did commit repeated acts of fraud for years. So now what happens from here? What do you make of where we are?
Yeah, remember, procedurally, this is a little unique in that, number one, summary judgment was granted. Summary judgment statistically is not normally granted. That basically says, hey, on this issue, for example, of fraud, there's no dispute. So I can rule on this and then we'll just go to trial on the rest of the stuff. So that's rare. And then a bench trial, very rare. So we've had a very different procedural situation here for this trial. Now, the defense has wisely, I think, moved on. They did not call Donald Trump at the end of their case. They ended not with a bang, but with calm, detached academic testimony. And that could be something that sways the judge. Remember, you have a jury of one here. And it may be the case, I'm thinking, that after weeks ago with all the hullabaloo, arguing with the judge and with Donald Trump and everything else, things calmed down, and maybe this is a judge who may be receptive to the defense's case. That being said, in all likelihood, he's already ruled against them on the fraud issue. Really, if you're a betting person, in all likelihood, the defense has a real long shot here.
Hullabaloo, huh? Is that a legal term?
It is. It's Latin. Yes.
Danny, what do you think we're going to hear from the Trump side of things when it comes to closing arguments? I mean, it sounds like a lot of money on the line.
They're going to stick to their theme. Point one, real estate is subjective, not objective. The value is in the eye of the beholder. Point two, I relied on minions. I relied on accountants. I relied on all these people to do my work for me. It was not me. And thirdly, sort of relatedly, is that, hey, all those people, the banks, they accepted this. They could have done their due diligence. They have an obligation to do their due diligence. You couple that with, they had testimony from Deutsche Bank executives saying, hey, everything was fine with us. They were a little high on the valuation, but that was fine. And then they paid an expert just under $1 million from NYU to do accounting testimony. And he said, look, the books, they look all right. Now, is that enough to get you over the hump? Who knows?
Thank you very much. Well, on Wednesday, the Federal Reserve announced it will leave interest rates unchanged. That was expected. Inflation peaked at 9.1% last year. Well, now it's down to 3.1% year over year in November. Fed Chair Jerome Powell said that while he's pleased with where inflation is, the central bank is ready to act if circumstances change.
While we believe that our policy rate is likely at or near its peak for this tightening cycle, the economy has surprised forecasters in many ways since the pandemic, and ongoing progress toward our 2% inflation objective is not assured. We are prepared to tighten policy further if appropriate.
Committee members say they're penciling in at least 3 rate cuts for 2024. Markets rallied following the decision, with the Dow Jones closing at a record high.
And the plains are in for more rain and snow today, while another storm system could bring us a weekend washout for the east. We'll tell you all about it coming up.
Also, border crisis. A major change in immigration policy may be in the works, including a proposal to allow more migrants to be kicked out of the country. That story is up next. Welcome back. Republican lawmakers in Washington are now considering major changes to immigration policies, including a sweeping proposal to expel more migrants from the U.S. As NBC News senior White House correspondent Gabe Gutierrez explains, this proposal is all tied to the fight over new funding for Ukraine.
A new battle over the border is erupting on Capitol Hill. Two sources familiar with the discussions tell NBC News that Democratic lawmakers and the White House are considering agreeing to a Republican demand that would allow for more expulsions of migrants from the U.S. It's one of several border policy changes Republicans want. The before they'll approve more aid for Ukraine.
I like the idea of having something like Title 42.
Title 42 was the COVID-era border restriction implemented by former President Trump. One immigration advocacy group is calling the new proposal Title 42 on steroids. Sources familiar with the discussions tell NBC News a significant expansion of migrant detention and deportation is on the table, as well as stricter asylum laws.
It is unconscionable. That is not the way to fix our immigration system.
President Biden says he's willing to compromise, but he's also slamming Republicans.
Holding Ukraine funding hostage in an attempt to force through an extreme Republican partisan agenda on the border is not how it works.
NBC News polling shows Republicans hold an 18-point lead over Democrats when it comes to handling immigration. And with a record 4.5 million illegal border crossings in just the last 2 years, a spokesman for the National Border Patrol Union tells us the proposed changes are necessary.
The only way to stop this flow is a mandatory detention, mandatory removal. Once you get that out there and you actually follow through with it, then the flow will stop.
Still, some current and former Homeland Security officials tell NBC News the proposed changes could overwhelm detention centers. One official saying the changes could, quote, break the border. Back to you.
All right, Gabe Gutierrez, thank you so much.
A wintry mix of rain, ice, and snow is in store for part of the country today. For more on that, let's get a check on your morning News Now weather.
Angie Lastman is here in studio with us. Hey, Angie, good morning.
Good morning, guys. You are exactly right. The mix of the rain, the snow, the ice, all on the table, and it's mainly focused across portions of the plains today. We did see some snow falling in parts of the Rockies yesterday. That's going to slowly taper off, and we'll see that storm system work a little farther to the east. But in the meantime, we've got the heavy rain across parts of Texas, Oklahoma, up into Kansas, and moving north. And that's what we're going to see through the day today. There's the storm system I'm talking about. Places from Omaha to Wichita and down through, again, Texas and Oklahoma could see some of that rain, snow, and ice. This will be something that we see through the day today before it starts to move a little farther to the east as we get into tomorrow. Then we'll watch for the potential for some storms from basically East Texas all the way up into Missouri. Still mainly rain as we get into tomorrow because of how warm those temperatures are in that region. When it comes to the rainfall totals through the end of the week, I think another inch, maybe inch and a half. Some isolated spots could pick up 2 inches, and we've already had a good amount of rain, especially across parts of Texas. So maybe some isolated or localized flooding in some of those spots. Meanwhile, another foot, maybe 2 feet of snow across portions of New Mexico as we get through the day today. So that's going to be up in those higher areas or higher elevation areas. Meanwhile, we head to Florida where there are flood alerts, and this is something you'll likely see for the next couple of days. We've got some flood watches up right now across the southeastern coast, and we're expecting a whole lot more rain over the next couple of days. We got a couple things going on there. So rainfall totals 1 to maybe 5 inches with localized amounts higher than that. And with a really wet year already, they don't need this rain, but they sure are going to get it. Here's today, the stationary front that you see there, that's what's keeping them kind of unsettled. So we'll deal with some heavy rain. But that storm system you see out in the Gulf of Mexico, that's going to gain some strength, and it brings a big push of moisture into the state of Florida through the day on Saturday. Unfortunately, it's going to be a soggy Saturday. And then look what happens. More of that working up the coast, again, just in time for the end of the weekend and beginning of the work week from the southeast all the way to the northeast. We'll deal with the rain. The good news is, or maybe not good news for Savannah, it's going to be kind of warm, so it won't fall as snow in the northeast.
Give us some snow.
But it will be soggy.
Below zero, blizzard on Christmas Eve.
A white Christmas. That's not just me. There's songs about it. Everybody loves it. Thank you, Angie.
You're welcome.
Coming up, it's a familiar scene we have seen play out across stores in America. Thieves swarming and grabbing everything they can get their hands on.
Up next, NBC has an exclusive look inside the undercover effort to combat what has become a multi-billion-dollar problem. Welcome back. The holiday shopping season is in full swing, and authorities across the country are cracking down on organized retail theft. It is a multi-billion-dollar problem, and California is one of the states that's been hit the hardest. NBC News national correspondent Miguel Almaguer spent time with the LA County Sheriff's Department, got a rare look inside their operations to fight a kind of crime that's impacting almost everyone.
Big shopping centers across the country. Undercover surveillance teams like these say this is the multi-billion-dollar problem exploding out of control.
We've done probably already 6 or 7 this week. We're stepping up our efforts over the holiday season.
You got him. Given rare exclusive access to covert operations, we followed the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department Retail Theft Task Force and the California Highway Patrol.
Let them come out, we'll get them.
So that's a suspect, Puma bag, it's 2 Puma bags.
As officers swarm suspected shoplifters, who they say often work with a network of criminals like this in what's known as organized retail crime.
We see these really shocking videos that come out from all across the country. Why is this crime so pervasive?
I think there's an absolute perception that nothing's going to be done because it's theft. For years now, we've been looking at mobs of, usually it's younger kids, and they believe that if they do it in packs, it's harder to detain and arrest.
The thieves, who all too often get away, can swipe tens of thousands of dollars of merchandise, taking their hauls to stash houses like this one. The CHP says this makeshift storefront holds over $500,000 in stolen goods. As officers raided this home, we watched as bag after bag of merchandise was recovered.
We've seen boxes of shoes, stolen goods, the price tags are still on them.
There's going to be some critics who say this is a dog and pony show. Not enough arrests are being made.
It's a challenge, and I think when the theft occurs, we'd like to think we respond as quickly as we can, and we're investigating all of them. We are doing the best that we can.
While not every city is seeing a surge in retail crime, some of the biggest are. With Los Angeles, the nation's epicenter, major metropolitan areas coast to coast are seeing a dangerous spike. And authorities say current laws aren't working.
If the value is under $950, it's considered a misdemeanor. If they don't have any outstanding cases or outstanding warrants, they will be cited, more than likely released.
In just the last few hours with undercover teams, what's become apparent and quite astonishing is just how rampant shoplifting is. You pick the store, it's getting hit over and over again.
The cost of these thefts, which include everyday items, are eventually passed on to consumers who pay higher prices for the same products. But for small shop owners like Mona Zargar, this heist nearly put her out of business.
I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to be in this store anymore. How do you replace something like this overnight?
The fight against organized retail crime and the rising price we all pay. Miguel Almaguer, NBC News, Los Angeles.
Turning now to Florida, where state Republicans are faced with a new controversy involving one of the most powerful couples there. Florida GOP chairman Christian Ziegler has been accused of sexual battery, and his wife is standing by his side. NBC News correspondent Noah Pransky explains.
Hey, hey, ho, ho. Christian Ziegler's got to go. Hey, hey.
Outrage, both outside.
She has turned this school board into a circus.
And inside.
It is the distraction du jour.
A Sarasota County School Board meeting with critics calling for the resignation of board member and co-founder of Moms for Liberty, Bridget Ziegler.
The resolution recommends that Bridget Ziegler immediately take all steps necessary to voluntarily resign.
The non-binding vote passed.
I am disappointed.
Ziegler did not resign. But why is this such a big deal? Ziegler co-founded Moms for Liberty, a parents group aggressively pushing for more conservative policies in schools, including bans on some books and lessons related to certain race, gender, and sexuality issues. She's also married to the chair of the Republican Party of Florida, Christian Ziegler, who now faces allegations of sexual battery, including rape. But Bridget isn't accused of any legal wrongdoing.
The blowback is generally for her been sort of steeped in the idea that she's being a hypocrite, and that is because the allegations of the sex scandal are that there was a threesome, and a threesome that involves another woman.
The Florida Center for Government Accountability first reported the alleged rape described in a search warrant affidavit. It details what was supposed to be a consensual three-way encounter that included Bridget. But it says when Bridget canceled, Christian went to the victim's house anyway. Sarasota police have not confirmed or denied the authenticity of the detailed affidavit, which has been widely reported. But last month, police provided NBC News a heavily redacted report mentioning rape and sexual battery when asked for a complaint filed against Ziegler. Christian Ziegler's lawyer says Sarasota police are investigating, but his client is innocent. Ziegler has not been charged. Bridget Ziegler, meanwhile, who did not return NBC News' request for comment, has tried to conduct business as usual these last few weeks.
I serve on another public board, and
This issue did not come up, and we were able to forge ahead with the business of the board.
But the scandal has rocked the Florida GOP, with some calling on Governor Ron DeSantis to use his executive power to remove Bridget from boards.
And it's had some huge political ripple effects here that the party is still figuring out how to kind of deal with.
Moms for Liberty says Bridget stepped down as co-founder years ago, but, quote, has remained an avid warrior for parental rights, adding that the allegations against Christian should be fully investigated. DeSantis, who endorsed Bridget for the Sarasota School Board, has not yet commented on whether she should resign, but publicly urged her husband to step down as party chair. Now, some of the state's top Republicans have called an emergency meeting this weekend to discuss potential disciplinary actions against him. With neither Ziegler indicating any plans to step down, the future remains in limbo, both for this power couple and the Republican Party of Florida.
Our thanks to Noah Pransky for that report. Well, the state Republican Party can remove Mr. Ziegler, NBC News reporter Matt Dixon tells us, but state law does not allow that to happen in just one meeting. So we'll see what does happen.
Exactly. Coming up, a massive recall affecting nearly every Tesla in America.
The safety concerns after a series of crashes were reported with the autopilot feature on. Stay with us.
Welcome back. If you own a Tesla, chances are good your model is now under a recall. That's after a federal investigation into serious and sometimes fatal crashes involving the automaker's autopilot system. NBC's Tom Costello has the details.
The recall comes after a series of horrific accidents involving Tesla's autopilot feature.
Look at me. Just look at me.
Including this one in the Florida Keys in 2019.
She's right there. She's right there in the bushes.
Dylan Angulo was seriously injured. His girlfriend, Nibela Benavides Leon, died after they were hit by a driver who told police he'd taken his eyes off the road while relying on Tesla's autopilot. 4 years later,
just mentally and physically, it's really destroyed my life.
The recall involves nearly every Tesla in America to update the auto steer function, which government investigators say is intended for use on controlled access highways without cross traffic, requiring attentive drivers with their hands on the steering wheel at all times.
There are too many drivers that are kind of over-relying on the Tesla technology.
The recall won't require owners to visit the dealer. Instead, Tesla is transmitting a software update that adds extra alerts and controls to encourage the driver to adhere to continuous driving responsibility and prohibit auto steer on roads it's not approved for. In a post on X, Tesla says it has a moral obligation to improve its safety systems, while also insisting incontrovertible data that shows autopilot is saving lives and preventing injury. The government began its investigation after roughly a dozen Teslas crashed into the back of parked emergency vehicles at night. Tesla insists autopilot does not mean autonomous, though many drivers have thought otherwise over the years. Back to you.
All right, Tom, thank you.
Well, another big recall for you on this Thursday morning, this time involving several Coca-Cola drinks.
CNBC's Savannah Henao has that and other money news. Savannah, good morning.
Good morning, Joe. Good morning, Savannah. Yes, so Coca-Cola is recalling nearly 2,000 cases of Diet Coke, Sprite, and Fanta in 3 states, Florida, Alabama, and Mississippi. The FDA says the move is because of potential foreign material in the cans, although the agency hasn't said what the material is. The company started pulling the cases, which were sold in a 12-pack fridge pack from store shelves last month, but customers in those states are being urged to check cans in their homes and discard them. You can find more information on the FDA's website. Meta is rolling out new tools on Instagram to give users more control over how much spam and bots they see on their feeds. You'll also be told whether something you post meets community guidelines. Instagram's detection system checks for spam across comments, tags, story views, and followers. It will flag fake followers and spam content and give you the options to delete items in bulk. Any suspected spam will be filtered into a separate inbox to review. Rents in Manhattan have seen their first year-over-year drop since the middle of 2021. Reports say prices on new leases slipped in November and have fallen more than 9% from the record high of $4,400 this summer. Now, rents are still 11% higher than they were in 2019. The vacancy rate rising for the 14th straight month as landlords list more apartments. Analysts expect more small declines over the next few months, but don't anticipate a sharp correction. Manhattan is the nation's largest rental market, guys.
So we're not going to see a 40% drop in the next few months?
Sorry.
No way.
Savannah Henao, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. All right, let's stay on some money stuff. Now, you might think it's too early to start thinking about tax season, and I tend to agree with you, but I also do everything at the last minute. But it does officially begin just over a month from now, so why not get ahead?
Yeah, the end of the year is a good time to get your finances in order. Never mind all the other stuff you have to do right now, but it'll get you a little better prepared when it is time to file your returns.
That's right. Mark Stieber is Chief Tax Information Officer for Jackson Hewitt. He always joins us on these tips right around this time of year over the next couple months. You make it fun. I know. He says that taxes need a new PR firm, which I love. Tell us any changes that we should be thinking about heading into this tax season.
Well, there are a lot of tax changes. It's the bluebird of spring. So there were changes in the standard deduction, changes in the tax rate brackets, even changes to some of the rules if you're green and you bought a car or have a house. But bigger than tax changes, I tell everyone every year, life changes. Watch for those to drive money to your bottom line. Got married, had a child in college, started a side gig, retired. All of those can add complexity to your tax return, but also perhaps some new breaks you haven't seen before and you won't be seeing on a program like this because they're not flashy, they're not sexy. They weren't tax changes, they are life changes. So talk to your pro about life changes and what that can mean.
Yeah, I learned that last year when I got married. I'm like, jointly or not jointly, it's over my head. What about people who are repaying student loans?
Student loans, a lot of that was sequestered for a while with the pandemic, so there was not a deduction for that student loan interest. Really, really sweet break there for taxpayers who owe student debt. You don't have to itemize. It's not a credit. You paid loans, probably had a component of interest. You deduct that off your tax return. It's not automatic. You have to put it on there. You have to tell your pro. And if you just fast forwarding through that self-prep, you might leave it off and the IRS will not fix it for you. So if you paid student loans, make sure you take that deduction.
So we still have about 2.5 weeks left in this year. Are there things that we can do now that will affect our taxes perhaps in a positive way?
Absolutely. Until the midnight deadline happens on December 31st, you can still do a couple things. Now, some of them have to be a little harder. You might need to look at your HR program and put a little more money in that 401k if you haven't done that yet. That can come off your taxes. Make some charitable donations if you're an itemizer. Pay some student costs if you're a person that gets the student tax credits. Advance pay next semester and maybe push that into this year. Because it is a good rule, defer income. If you can push off that bonus, push off charging that client if you're self-employed, put the tax money in the next year. Accelerate deductions. And there's a lot of things you can do. Find your favorite website for some of those tips. Look at your life, but get organized. That's the number one thing I tell people to do in advance.
And when you say get organized, what type of things are you saying that people should be keeping tabs on?
Keep it simple. First, you want to find last year's stuff. Always a good way to jumpstart next year.
What do you mean stuff?
Your tax return, your records, what you had happen last year. It's a good way to have a checklist for what to watch for this year. Both your crypto, your stock sales, your investment accounts. Last year's tax return lists all that, so you won't be just trusting the mail and maybe something didn't happen that you moved. Secondly, find a tax pro. And I say that as a tax pro, whether you come to Jackson Hewitt or you go somewhere else, find someone to debunk a myth from Uncle Bob at the Thanksgiving or the Christmas table. Find someone to check your work if you're a do-it-yourself astronaut cowboy. But most importantly, when you just throw your hands up and say, I don't want to do this, go see your pro. It's a good thing to have, whether you do it yourself or whether you use us or you use someone else, have someone to double check it. But most importantly, have a plan, a simple plan. Have a calendar. This year in February, I'm not going to wait till April. 3 out of 4 people get a refund. You don't want to wait till April. Get that money. So get a plan, get a pro, get a box or an envelope, and that will solve your stress for Christmas and the holiday season. You've got yourself ready to go.
I feel like you've had a lot of problems with astronaut cowboys.
Well, those people who are adventurous on their largest single transaction, gambling on your taxes, not where you want to go. If you want to go gamble, that's
Mark,
fine.
You do make it fun, so
well,
thank you very
I'm giving
much.
people money. Go get your money.
Thank you so much. Coming up, 'tis the season for moviegoers.
2023 is coming to a close with some big-name blockbusters in 2024, promising even bigger names. Up next, we're going to sit down with Fandango's managing director, talk about what's making waves and what it'll take to get people back in theaters after a somewhat disappointing 2023. Stay with us. Welcome back. Every year, the Library of Congress adds some big screen titles to the National Film Registry. Out of nearly 7,000 nominations offered up by the public, 25 movies made the cut, and this year's list, of course, has some classics. You can see it there. Starting at the three-point line, we're falling in love all over again with Love and Basketball. And it's hard to forget this Debbie Allen quote, "You want fame? Well, fame costs." The timeless 1980 musical Fame joined the list, along with cultural classics like 12 Years a Slave, Dinner at 8, and Terminator 2. I can't remember if Terminator 1 is in there already. If you're feeling a little extra nostalgic this morning, grab some popcorn, or in this case, some pasta, because Disney's Lady and the Tramp snagged the 5th spot. Somehow wasn't on the registry yet. Now
that was very deserving.
Exactly.
If Terminator 1's not on there, that's hysterical.
That would be funny.
Finally this hour, Hollywood is getting ready to wrap up a blockbuster but tumultuous 2023 with a big push of some highly anticipated films like Wonka and Aquaman 2. But will it be enough to bring audiences back?
Yeah, domestic box office sales up nearly $2 billion over last year. But remember, that was last year. They still haven't returned to pre-pandemic levels.
So what will 2024 look like for the movie industry? Let's bring in Eric Davis, Managing Director for Fandango, on this. Eric, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here. So this, while it's the holiday season, this is also a big movie season for people, right? People go on Christmas Day, Christmas Eve, things like that. What can we expect in these next couple weeks as this kind of final push at the end of the year?
Yeah, I think you could expect a little bit of everything, you know, and some music, beginning with Wonka, Timothée Chalamet, big movie, certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. I think this is going to be the biggest film, honestly, of the holiday season. It's going to have legs. A lot of families going to go. Very family friendly. There's a big superhero movie in Aquaman, The Color Purple, more music, an adaptation of that musical, really strong, just nominated for a Critics' Choice Award for Best Picture. So there's a lot. Ferrari. Michael Mann has a new movie that's out as well. There's just, I think no matter what kind of film you're in the mood for over these next 2 weeks, there will be something for you.
There's a little something for everyone, plus all the Oscar nominees come out around this time, so if you're a huge film buff, there's things to catch. All right, so as the year comes to a close, anything we're looking at in the new year that's already exciting you?
Yeah, well, we just released, just now, our top 10 most anticipated movies of 2024. Over 8,000 Fandango ticket buyers were surveyed for this. And the list, all franchises, which is expected, you know, it's familiar for audiences. Deadpool 3, superhero movie. Beetlejuice 2, Michael Keaton's actually coming back for that one with Winona Ryder. Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire. And what's interesting about those top 3 and what we're seeing a trend of are these, you know, older characters and newer characters coming together in a movie. They call it a legacy-quel instead of a sequel. And
legacy-quel.
And we're seeing a lot of that. And good family movies, Despicable Me 4, Inside Out 2. So
a new Quiet Place too?
Quiet Place Day 1, which is kind of like a spin-off of A Quiet Place.
Right. That is a good movie. Also Inside Out 2, so, and that one I'm excited about. It has the anxiety character coming in, which is so sweet. Are people actually going back to the movies?
I think they are. I think they definitely are. And you know what they're doing, and what we saw on our survey, is the premium formats are big. IMAX, Dolby, 3D, especially Aquaman, big 3D movie this December. And so I think the premium formats are attracting people back, you know? You should look at events like Barbenheimer, which I think was the box office event of the year. And people want these event movies. They want to go out in droves. They want to see them in a big screen, the IMAX screen, the Dolby. And so, you know, over 70% of people that we surveyed want to go see in premium formats. I think 68% want to see multiple movies in premium formats. So look for that to be a big trend in 2024.
The Dolby theaters really are cool. You have to pay a little bit for them, but you get the extra sound and things like that.
And I'm into that one that's at Union Square, a neighborhood here in New York where like the chair moves.
Oh yeah, those are the best.
I'm like, oh,
have you ever had the ones where like they tickle you sometimes?
Yes, no,
or
there's like a smell and stuff. It's like crazy. Yeah, very cool. That's interesting that that you're seeing that people are into that, because it can be really expensive. All of a sudden you're like, wow, that was pricey to go to the movies.
Yeah, but if you're going out of the house and you want to kind of go out for the night, I think people are looking for that premium experience.
Exactly.
And they'll pay for it.
All right, Eric Davis.
Thank you so much. Great to see you. Happy watching.
It's going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now.
But the news continues right now. Stay with us. Good morning and happy Thursday. I'm Savannah Sellers.
I'm Joe Fryer. Right now on Morning News Now, from investigation to impeachment inquiry. Last night, a party line vote in the House bolstered by a Republican majority. Making it official, President Biden will be the subject of Congress's latest impeachment probe. It comes on the heels of a defiant press conference from the president's son, Hunter Biden, yesterday. He skipped a closed-door hearing with Republicans, calling the investigations into his family illegitimate. But could those same Republicans retaliate further? We are covering it all. On the Israel-Hamas war, an emotional meeting at the White House with President Biden welcoming the families of American hostages still held by Hamas. We're going to bring you their stories of heartache and hope, and we'll take a closer look at the toll this war is taking on the people of Gaza, with nearly 2 million Palestinians now displaced. We're also watching your wallet with a banner run on Wall Street. The Dow Jones closing out Wednesday's trading session at an all-time high. It was kick-started by the Federal Reserve opting to hold interest rates steady at its final meeting of 2023, even hinting at several cuts in 2024. We're going to break down what that means for Main Street in a moment. And staying on your money, it is a mad dash to the checkout counter. Holiday consumers are hunting for the real deal, and retailers are looking to reel in those last-minute shoppers. So where can you find the best bang for your buck as the clock ticks down to Christmas? But you don't have to worry about, because you're all done with your holiday shopping.
Way to troll me. Thank you so much for starting out this hour by trolling me. I have some work to do.
It's okay. You're not alone.
Yeah, so do you. We just had a conversation about that this morning.
Exactly. All right. Good to have you, Liz. We're going to begin this morning with the news that the House of Representatives has voted to launch an official impeachment inquiry into President Biden.
That marks the second time the House has opened an official inquiry into a president in less than 5 years. The Republican-led effort focuses on President Biden and his family's business dealings. It came just hours after the president's son, Hunter, defied a subpoena that called for him to testify in a closed-door deposition. Here's NBC News correspondent Garrett Haake.
Hey, Joe, Savannah, good morning. House Republicans managed to launch this effort with every GOP member voting in favor. The impeachment inquiry now adds some new muscle to an investigation that's already been underway for more than a year, but has failed so far to connect President Biden to any wrongdoing.
The yeas are 221 and the nays are 212. The resolution is adopted.
Republicans' months-long investigation into President Biden is now backed by a vote to launch a formal impeachment inquiry. The House voting along party lines late Wednesday to press on with an investigation of the president and his family's business dealings. Republicans arguing the move will allow them to enforce subpoenas in court as they search for evidence.
We have a simple question that I think an overwhelming majority of Americans have. What did the Bidens do to receive the tens of millions of dollars from our enemies around the world?
The Republican probe focuses on the president's son Hunter's business dealings abroad, accusing the younger Biden of profiting off the family name while Joe Biden was vice president. But so far, they've been unable to publicly demonstrate any concrete evidence that directly connects President Biden to any wrongdoing.
The Republicans are doing this for political retribution at Donald Trump's direction.
President Biden accusing House Republicans of a, quote, baseless political stunt, writing in part, instead of doing anything to help make Americans' lives better, they're focused on attacking me with lies. Earlier Wednesday, a defiant Hunter Biden, who's also the focus of a special counsel investigation and faces federal criminal gun and tax charges, appearing just outside the Capitol.
For 6 years, I have been the target of the unrelenting Trump attack machine, shouting, "Where's Hunter?" Well, here's my answer. I am here.
The president's son defying a subpoena to appear before 2 House committees for a closed-door deposition, instead offering to give his testimony at a public hearing.
In the depths of my addiction, I was extremely irresponsible with my finances. But to suggest that is grounds for an impeachment inquiry is beyond the absurd. There's no evidence to support the allegations that my father was financially involved in my business, because it did not happen.
Republicans have seized on that last line there from Hunter Biden, the idea that Joe Biden wasn't financially involved in his businesses, speculating that perhaps he was involved in other ways. That will be a focus of their deposition of Hunter if it ever happens. And Republicans say they're going to move to hold Hunter Biden in contempt of Congress as they try to compel that testimony behind closed doors. Joe, Savannah, that's a process that could take weeks or even months and would ultimately involve the Department of Justice if it reaches the level of a criminal contempt case. Meantime, the committee says it hopes to speak to President Biden's brother, and they're going to keep looking for business records and records from the Biden vice presidency to support what remains so far their unproven theory of the case.
All right, Garrett Haake, thank you so much.
This morning, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is vowing to finish the war with Hamas despite growing calls to implement a ceasefire. President Biden is now joining in, urging Netanyahu to reconsider his military operations. NBC News chief foreign correspondent Richard Engel has the latest details.
National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan is in Israel today, meeting with Prime Minister Netanyahu and his war cabinet. On the agenda, Israel's timetable for the war.
The Israeli government says it will not stop its war to overthrow Hamas in Gaza, despite growing condemnations about its cost to Palestinian civilians. After President Biden's rebuke of what he called Israel's indiscriminate bombing in Gaza and an overwhelming UN vote calling for a ceasefire, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu telling Israeli troops, in the face of international pressure, nothing will stop us. Yesterday, President Biden met with the families of 8 American hostages in Gaza, among the 240 kidnapped by Hamas on October 7th. Hirsch Goldberg Pollen was kidnapped from a music festival. His arm was blown off during his capture. His parents, John and Rachel, attended the meeting with President Biden remotely. I spoke to them this morning at their home in Jerusalem.
Did you hear anything encouraging? They are working relentlessly. That's a word that was mentioned many times in the meeting. Now we just need the results, but the effort is there.
Accounts from hostages who've been freed by Hamas have made Hirsch's parents even more worried.
They talked about torture. They talked about starvation. They talked about being cold. And that, of course, got everybody much more into despair and frantic about time.
In Gaza, heavy rains combined with a shattered infrastructure have led to floods. This is how a pregnant woman had to be evacuated. First responders chest deep in water and explosions nearby. Tent cities in Gaza near the Egyptian border are overcrowded, and people say they can only focus on hunger, thirst, fear, and anger. We say that it would be better to die and not live such a life, she says. Hamas shows no signs of giving up. Neither does Israel, as Gaza becomes an increasingly impossible place to live for Palestinians and an abysmal one to be held hostage by Hamas.
President Biden has been pushing for a resumption of the peace process, culminating in a two-state solution, Israel and a Palestinian state. But today, Israel's ambassador to the United Kingdom said that Israel would not accept a two-state solution when this war is over. And she isn't the only Israeli official saying that.
All right, Richard Engel, thank you.
Well, millions of people in Gaza have been displaced from their homes as a result of this war. NBC News is taking a closer look at one tent city just miles from the Egyptian border where those Gazans are desperately seeking refuge. NBC's Hala Garani has that story.
3 miles from southern Gaza's border with Egypt, a makeshift tent city in the sand for thousands of displaced Gazans. This is where the Israeli military says they should be safe, bathing in plastic buckets, the blistered feet of those who've walked a long way to this camp. I swear I'm asking to die in my house, not on the border, Aya Bakar says. They are running from the bombs and the shelling, but it's the dirty water that could become the next big killer here.
We have the most serious acute gastroenteritis we have ever seen in our practice. Due to bad sanitation, due to bad water, to dirty water.
At Dr. Ahmed Al-Farah's hospital in southern Gaza, children wait to be treated in overcrowded hallways. My son's condition, Muna Al-Khul says, diarrhea and stomach poisoning, flu-like symptoms because of the cold. These stories are everywhere, even for those lucky enough to have a roof over their heads.
Here we make tea and coffee.
Sharing a single room with a dozen family members, for Fatan Al-Farah's elderly parents, the medication has run out.
And since I came here, I'm trying to find these medicines for my mother. I couldn't find any one of them.
With so much of Gaza destroyed, for many, even when the bombs stop falling, there may be nowhere left to go. Hala Garani, NBC News.
This morning, Russian President Vladimir Putin has been holding his year-end news conference. It's the first time that's happened since the war in Ukraine began. The annual event did not take place last year. The Q&A includes an audience of journalists. NBC News chief international correspondent Keir Simmons has more from Moscow.
Hey there, good morning. Right now, here in central Moscow, President Putin is holding a rare news conference. Hundreds of journalists and some Russian people are here to ask questions, but only those given permission by the Kremlin. This morning, President Putin presiding over an end-of-year question and answer session, his first since his full-scale invasion of Ukraine 22 months ago, vowing to fight on.
The peace will come when we reach our goals that you have mentioned. And coming back to the goals, they remain unchanged. So we have other opportunities either to come to terms or to have our way compellingly.
An embattled President Zelensky in Europe for talks over money and support after meeting President Biden earlier this week and failing to persuade Congress to approve billions more for Ukraine. NBC News invited to Putin's rare news conference Russia's autocrat looking to turn a page despite the continued war in Ukraine and opposition leaders and journalists in Russian jails. This morning, a Russian court extending the pre-trial detention for American reporter Evan Gershkovich to January the 30th. He was arrested last March on allegations of espionage, which he denies. Putin still keeping his stance with the West.
We see the fundamental conditions to establish full-fledged relations with them. So far, we see none.
The US says it believes Russia still aims to overwhelm Ukraine. Back home next year, Putin will stand for election after 23 years in power. Veteran politician Boris Nadezhdin plans to stand against him. He opposed Russia's so-called special military operation and openly says it's time to move on.
It's dead end. Dead end.
Ukraine's frozen conflict feels far from Moscow's snow-covered streets, where Russians are in holiday mood. Its wartime economy growing despite sanctions. Russian versions of stores have replaced Western brands. Reebok is now Sneaker Box, Starbucks, Stars Coffee, Timberland now Bootswood. Many people now concerned more about life back home than on the front line, while Putin appears undaunted. Independent polling here in Russia suggests half of Russians would now like to see peace talks over Ukraine, but far more say they would not want to give up any territory, suggesting the prospect of meaningful negotiations are still slim. Guys?
All right, Keir, thank you.
Let's turn now to economic news. U.S. markets surged Wednesday after the Federal Reserve kept interest rates on hold and also signaled we might see 3 cuts by the end of 2024.
The Dow Jones climbed more than 500 points, closing above 37,000 for the first time ever. The S&P 500 and the Nasdaq also jumped on the news.
Let's bring in Investopedia's editor-in-chief, Caleb Silver, of course, to talk through all this. Hey, Caleb, good to see you. So investors clearly cheering this decision. What exactly was the part of the announcement that sparked such a strong reaction?
Yeah, one teeny little word, and that word was any. Fed Chair Powell in his statement after the decision saying the Fed is going to look to see if the extent of any additional rate hikes. Before, they left that word any out, so it was implying that they might hike rates again. The rate hikes are over. Now, there's this growing drumbeat that there'll be 3 rate cuts next year, quarter-point cuts each, bringing the Fed funds rate down to 4.6%. What does that mean? Money's going to get a lot cheaper. Interest rates, the Fed rate is going to drop by 0.75% by September of next year. That's good news. You see that rally. More bulls than a Garth Brooks concert right now.
So that number, 3 cuts, was that expected? Was that a surprise? And then do we know when we could see the first cut? How quickly?
Yeah, that was a surprise. Before, in the last meeting, when we looked at that dot plot, that really boring but important chart, the Fed had signaled maybe 2 cuts next year. This time around, 3 cuts. Those could begin as early as March, probably May. But by September, you're going to see that Fed funds rate drift a lot lower. And already we're going to see an opening up of mortgage rates. Those are going to come down. New car loans are going to come down. Credit card APRs are going to come down. You're going to get flooded in your inbox with credit card companies offering you credit cards at lower APRs because rates are coming down and they want to capture those customers.
All right, so everything you said so far sounds like good news, but Fed Chair Jerome Powell did still kind of reference this risk of a recession. Let's listen to a little bit of what he said first.
There's always a probability
that there will be a recession in the next year, and it's a meaningful probability no matter what the economy is doing. So it's always a real possibility. This result is not guaranteed. It is far too early to declare victory, and there are certainly risks. It's certainly possible that the economy will behave in an unexpected way.
So how do you weigh this? Does the good news outweigh the risks? What does this mean for somebody at home in our wallets?
Yeah, he's being careful because that's his job, but we could see a recession. In fact, a lot of economists think we've had rolling recessions in different parts of the economy going on for the past 6 to 9 months. The thing about a recession, you don't know it until it's in the rear view mirror. So he's being careful. That said, economic conditions are still pretty good. We saw good jobs growth in the last month, really the last several months, and we see spending holding up. We're going to get a retail sales report in about 15, 20 minutes. Spending's a little bit lighter, but the consumer's hanging in because the job market's strong right now, and the stock market, about half the country's invested in it. That's the wealth effect. People feel better when they see that Dow and the S&P near record highs.
Yeah, better than it was a few months ago, too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. Caleb, thank you so much. Always good to see you.
Steady rain is hitting Florida and the southeast into the weekend. For details, it's time to check your morning news now forecast.
Which means it's time to talk to Angie Lastman again. Angie, good morning.
Good morning, guys. I know you don't want to hear it. Weekend and rain in the same sentence, but unfortunately, that's what we're dealing with for parts of Florida, the southeast, and eventually the mid-Atlantic and northeast down the line. But let's start with Florida because we've already got flood watches up. You can see they hug the southeast coast, including major cities like Miami and Fort Lauderdale, and they're going to last through tonight. We've got some of these showers kind of working their way in to parts of the Keys, but that's not the big batch of rain that we're waiting for. That's going to come a little later here as we get into tomorrow, but in the meantime, those showers, of course, are not helping because they can bring us some heavy downpours and leave us with some flooding concerns, especially when we've already have saturated grounds. When you look at the rainfall forecast through Sunday, we've got anywhere from about 1 inch to 3 inches expected across the whole of the state, but some spots could pick up maybe 5 to 7 inches of rain, especially if we see those showers kind of building behind each other, what we call training, and you have heavy rain over the same spots for a long period of time. It's not hard to get flooding in a region like this. So there's the stationary front, I should say, that's just kind of hanging around through the day today and into tomorrow. We're going to see this lasting here, but this is the area that we're really going to watch a big batch of moisture work on shore here as we get into Saturday. It spreads up into the southeast, eventually the mid-Atlantic, the northeast. As we get through Sunday, we'll see the heavy rain and the potential for some gusty winds too. Eventually, it'll be out of the picture by the time we get into Tuesday, but it'll be a soggy commute for folks on Monday. One thing that I want to highlight for you guys, because Savannah loves it so much, places that could see a chance for a white Christmas. Here's what we on average see. Places like the upper Midwest, the Adirondacks have a pretty good chance, about 75%. The Rockies, the Cascades, the Sierras too. But unfortunately, as we look ahead to Christmas week, most of the country, 47 of the lower 48 states are looking at above normal temperatures. So that means sad snowman. Sorry, Savannah. Oh, look at it melt. That was for you.
Your best yet, Angie.
You're welcome. Sad snowman. Aw.
Thank you.
Thank you, Angie.
There it
goes.
is.
Oh,
Oh my gosh, that is
very
perfect.
sad.
Thank you so much. We've got more to come on this hour of Morning News Now, including prosecutors in Michigan beginning to lay out their case against more than a dozen fake electors charged with efforts to overturn the 2020 election in favor of former President Trump. We'll take you inside the courtroom.
Plus, we're going to dig into a new study that could hold the key to a more effective treatment of some morning sickness symptoms. Those stories and much more. Stick around after this. We're back with the latest on a big court case in Michigan. 6 of the 15 people charged with being fake pro-Trump electors in an effort to allegedly overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election. They are back in court this morning.
The Michigan Attorney General's office says they allegedly signed documents falsely claiming they were Michigan's electors for Donald Trump in 2020's Electoral College, despite Joe Biden winning the state. All of the defendants pleaded not guilty to the 8 charges they face. Now prosecutors are laying out their case, giving us a detailed look at how the scheme was carried out.
NBC News correspondent Shaquille Brewster joins us now. So, Shaq, tell us more about this preliminary examination hearing and the purpose of them.
Good morning. Well, look, the purpose of a preliminary examination hearing, it's also sometimes called the probable cause hearing, is for prosecutors to prove to a judge that they have enough evidence for this entire case to proceed. They are showing their evidence, showing that their charges, these 8 felony counts that they've launched against the slate of fake Republican electors, that they have enough evidence to convict and go ahead and make it to the next steps of a trial. Look, the state here is alleging that these 16 electors, now 15 because one of them took charges were dropped against one of them last month, that they conspired to commit forgery when they signed a document that said, quote, they were duly elected and qualified electors, and that the electoral votes for Michigan should go to Donald Trump when President Biden, of course, won the state of Michigan by more than 150,000 votes. It's a scheme. It's a move that we saw play out in several states across the country, but Michigan was the first state to actually charge these slate of fake electors.
So, as you're mentioning, Michigan, one of 7 states where officials have been investigating what they're calling this alternate slate of electors that Republicans put together in this attempt to challenge results. This is really the first time we've heard in open court witnesses testifying about details of these actions, in addition to being really one of the first cases that we're seeing play out. What stood out to you in yesterday's proceedings? What did we learn?
Yeah, you know, it was really striking to see, you know, we saw this fake elector scheme. We know about it. If you watch the January 6 hearings, it's something that came up before. But this was the first time, as you mentioned, that we saw witnesses presented, that there were cross-examinations, that evidence was actually submitted to a judge for the judge to review. And the first witness to take the stand yesterday was a state trooper who was at the Michigan State Capitol. You might have seen him in video before. And he talked about his interactions with this group of fake electors who tried to enter the Capitol to submit this alternate slate, according to prosecutors. I want you to listen to a little bit of that testimony.
I was well aware that under the procedures that Michigan uses to determine who are duly elected as electors, I knew who those people were, and I knew how they had been submitted. And so this document seemed notable to me in that there was another slate of individuals who are claiming to be duly elected electors to President Michigan.
And that was actually my mistake there. The state trooper was the first witness. This was a Board of Elections director who testified about the document that he was emailed and that he eventually forwarded over to law enforcement officials. The defense that you're hearing from these defendants at this point is that this was essentially them making legal objections to the political election, that they were told, they were following advice of Trump attorneys and others to essentially sign their name on the document. You have some of the electors saying that they didn't even see the actual certificate of the document, and they just signed a separate page of that document. All of this is going to play out in these mini trials, this preliminary examination that will continue today.
All right, Shaq, thank you so much.
Federal prosecutors say they will retry a former Louisville police officer accused of violating Breonna Taylor's civil rights. The decision comes a month after a judge declared a mistrial in Brett Hankison's case due to a deadlocked jury. Hankison is accused of using excessive force when he blindly fired 10 shots into Taylor's apartment 3 years ago during a botched raid that led to her death. He has pleaded not guilty. A status hearing will be held on January 24th, and a trial date has been set for October 14th of next year.
Now to international headlines. A new round of Russian missile attacks targeting the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv has left dozens hurt.
Claudio Lubanga joins us with that and other world headlines. Hey, Claudio, good morning.
Savannah and Joe, good morning. Well, that's right. Ukrainian officials say that at least 53 people, including 6 children, were injured in a wave of missile strikes that hit the Ukrainian capital overnight. Now, authorities say 10 Russian ballistic missiles targeting Kyiv were shot down at about 3 o'clock in the morning local. This most recent attack happened after President Zelensky left the U.S., where he pleaded for more help for his country. Now to the Americas and the Caribbean, where officials say they have seen the most dengue cases in recorded history this year. More than 4 million cases have been reported so far, surpassing the previous record set in 2019. Experts say that rising temperatures, extended seasons, and rapid urbanization are accelerating the pace of infections and fueling the surge in dengue cases. And we end with the NFL in Brazil. Well, that's right. For the first time ever, the NFL will play a regular season game in the country as part of the league's growing international plan. The NFL did not specify a date yet, but the game will take place at the Arena Corinthians in Sao Paulo, Brazil. In total, there are 5 planned games for 2024, 3 in London, 1 in Germany, and the other one, of course, in Brazil. Back to you guys.
Very fun. All right, cool. Claudia Lavanga, thank you.
Thank you. Well, morning sickness is, of course, something many women struggle with while pregnant, but now there may soon be new treatment options for women suffering from it, thanks to the findings of a new study.
A survey published in the journal Nature found that the vomiting and nausea women experience during their first trimester of pregnancy is linked to a single hormone.
Joining us now for more on this is NBC News medical contributor Dr. Natalie Azar. Dr. Azar, good morning. Great to see you.
Good morning.
So I don't have any children, but I do know I have some friends that dealt with this almost the whole time and other friends that never even had any issues like this at all. Tell us, what is this hormone and how does it play into who deals with this?
My gosh, this is so fascinating to me. And it would be amazing if we really found one single hormone that was the culprit, and then because then you can actually find a targeted treatment, right? So this is a hormone that we all have and we're all exposed to throughout our lives. It's called GDF15. Growth and differentiation factor 15, and it's also made by the placenta. And it actually sends a signal to the part of the brain that's responsible for feelings of appetite and nausea. And what the researchers found by doing studies in mice is that if you expose mice to this hormone before they get pregnant, you basically desensitize them, and they no longer experience the severe nausea and vomiting that's associated with this hormone. What they also found is that there are a percentage of women who have this funny mutation that actually reduces this hormone level, and so they're never exposed, essentially. And so when you get pregnant, you're exposed to this hormone for the very, very first time. Kind of think of it as like peanut allergy. If you desensitize someone, they will no longer be reactive to it. And if you withhold something and then expose them to it, you're suddenly very reactive.
Let's take a closer look at some of the numbers in this study. Nausea and vomiting are reported in about 2/3 of pregnancies. Up to 3% of women experience a condition that causes severe nausea and vomiting. That frequently leads to hospitalizations. And this is a condition that's often overlooked. So why is that, and how could knowing about this hormone help?
So one of the things that the expert commentary on this is that a lot of, people sort of think, oh, it's just a natural part of pregnancy, eat small meals and some crackers and drink some ginger ale, you'll be fine. But as you mentioned, in a small percentage of patients, it is a medical, potentially emergency. This is called hyperemesis gravidarum, right? Where people literally can't keep food down and they have electrolyte imbalances, and it can be baby threatening and even life threatening to the mom. What was very fascinating about this is that, well, how can you raise these levels then? If you're out there and you're like, I don't want to get morning sickness, well, there's a medication called metformin, which is actually a diabetes medicine that can raise the level of this hormone. And researchers are studying this now in cancer patients to see whether or not giving a medicine like this could desensitize women to the effects of the hormone. What I love about this is that it's rooted in science and genetics. And so, as I said from the beginning, once you have that, those are sort of the starting points for intervention. I think we're a ways away from that being like a practical application that women can just say, oh, I'm going to take this capsule and I'm not going to get morning sickness. But I think especially for women who had the hyperemesis gravidarum, this is something potentially they could talk to their doctor about and say, should I take some metformin before my second pregnancy? I think off-label, I could see certain docs doing that just because this is, as I said, a medical emergency for a small percentage of pregnant women.
Absolutely. I got to say, it also just sounds like women, not being dismissed when they're having a symptom like that.
Like, guess what? There's a real reason I feel this way.
Exactly, which is fantastic. Dr. Azar, as always, thank you.
You bet.
Coming up, we are talking about the stress of the holiday season.
Turns out a good chunk of Americans are expecting to be more on edge this year than last year. We'll dig into the new data and give you some tips on how you can handle it all. That's next on Morning News Now.
The holidays are a time when friends and family get together for celebrations and holiday meals, but it can also be a stressful time of year for some.
For sure. Well, a poll by the American Psychiatric Association found that 29%, in fact, of Americans anticipate being more stressed out this year than they were during the holidays last year.
For more on this, we're joined now by Raul Andrews Jr., Executive Director of the American Psychiatric Association Foundation. Raul, good to have you with us. Thanks for joining us. I mean, there's a lot of things that could be causing stress, especially right now this time of year. Walk us through what some of the top stressors are and what we should know about them.
So good morning to you and your audience, and thank you for having us. The number one stressor is a pocketbook issue. Over 50% of Americans don't believe they can afford the holidays this year, and they're worried about it. The second stressor in the top three, am I going to be able to find and afford that perfect gift? The perfect gift being a key stressor. And then the third of the top three, even if I find the perfect gift and I can afford the holidays, am I going to be able to put the food on the table to feed all the people who are coming to celebrate the holidays with us? So those are the top three, but they all are driven around pocketbook issues and economics.
Yeah, there's definitely a thread that ties them all together: money, gifts, food. So what is the best way to handle those stressful situations?
Well, first of all, there's no such thing as a perfect holiday. We want to find joy in the season. We want to be kinder to ourselves and each other, but we don't have to go broke trying to create the perfect holiday. So we want people to be mindful of their spending. We want people to be kinder to themselves and others, but we also want people to be more attuned to the signs and symptoms of stress, because if it's holiday stress that becomes everyday stress, then maybe we need more help, and there's no shame in that.
Could some of the things that people are stressing over at this time of year, or maybe just how stressed people are getting at this time of year, be a sign of something more? Is there any way to know when we should be on the lookout for maybe something to be more concerned about?
Well, certainly our doctors at the American Psychiatric Association have coined what we call seasonal affective disorder, or SAD. And that is when the normal stress that we all have turns into everyday stress, and we're always sad. We always feel hopeless or helpless. And that is a sign or a symptom that maybe there's something more that's going on. One of the things we did is launch last summer the Mental Health Care Works campaign, where people can get some tools and some tips and some resources to do a better self-inventory for themselves and others about what's going on and how to get help if needed.
Real quick, what is some of the best advice to help people deal with some of these situations?
So I think you want to look at what are the signs and symptoms of distress. Is it sleeplessness? Is it diet? Is it constant stress about I can't go to work today, or I don't know how to get work done when I'm there? Those are some things to look at, because they may not just be in this moment of the season. If that's happening, the most immediate thing we want folks to do is to know they can call or text 988, and they can talk right now to a national crisis helpline counselor who can get them closer to care. But if they're not ready for that, the best thing you can do, go to our website, mentalhealthcareworks.org, and just poke around a little bit and see what's going on, because hopefully what that's going to do is make you a little kinder to yourself. If you're a little kinder to yourself, you can be a little kinder to others, and that may be, in a time of high anxiety and stress, the best gift we can give to ourselves and others.
All right, most definitely. Raul Andrews Jr., thank you for joining us this morning. Happy holidays to you.
Yes, thank you
Happy
very
holidays
much.
to you.
Great info. Well, Oprah Winfrey is now opening up about her recent weight loss and how she manages her weight. In an exclusive interview with People magazine, the star revealed just how she did it and offered a message to others struggling with body image issues.
NBC News correspondent Emily Aketa joins us now with more on what she's saying. Emily, good morning.
Guys, good morning to you. Oprah continuing to be just so open. For decades, Oprah says she's blamed her willpower for her weight loss struggles. But the media mogul says she's had a change of heart that's shifted her view on weight loss drugs, now calling them a gift and relief.
This morning, Oprah looking fit and fabulous on the cover of People and sharing a head-turning revelation. The superstar admitting she uses a weight loss medication as part of her health routine, telling People, "I now use it as I feel I need it, as a tool to manage not yo-yoing."
Oprah talked to us about her journey that has really spanned decades and how she has been blamed and shamed about her weight.
Oprah saying the fact there's a medically approved prescription for managing weight and staying healthier in my lifetime feels like relief, like redemption, like a gift. I'm absolutely done with shaming from other people and particularly myself. While not naming the specific drug she takes, Oprah opening up about the pain she's endured in her weight loss struggles. It was public sport to make fun of me for 25 years. She says her change of heart about weight loss drugs came this summer when she hosted a special about slimming down and made these comments.
When I first started hearing about the weight loss drugs, I felt I've got to do this on my own because if I take the drug, that's the easy way out.
The star now telling people, I had the biggest aha. I realized I'd been blaming myself all these years for being overweight, and I have a predisposition that no amount of willpower is going to control. Obesity is a disease. Public reaction to her change in attitude about weight loss drugs has been mixed.
And I'm happy to see that Oprah Winfrey has joined the bandwagon. She said it was the easy way out. Early on, making other people question.
It's counting points.
For years, Oprah has been the face of Weight Watchers and is a part owner of the company. She says now using a weight loss drug is only one part of her regimen. That includes counting points, regular exercise, eating her last meal at 4 o'clock, and drinking a gallon of water a day. Health top of mind for the media mogul ahead of her 70th birthday next month. Within the last year, Oprah says she finally completed her dream of hiking the mountain she lives on. She said it felt like redemption. I should mention the new issue of People is out on newsstands tomorrow.
Good for her. Inspiration for everyone.
Sounds like she's doing it from all the angles. Emily, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Coming up, the clock is really ticking for those of you who have yet to start your holiday shopping.
But now you've started. But never fear, we're here to help you sort through all those steals and deals that the big retailers are peddling, both in store and online, where you can get the most bang for your buck this season. Stay with us, we got you covered. We're back now with a reminder you probably don't need, or maybe you do. Time is quickly running out to buy holiday presents. That means the last-minute scramble for gifts is officially underway.
Maybe you don't need the reminder, but you need like a shove to the store. NBC News business and data correspondent Brian Chung joins us now with details on last-minute deals for us. Brian, I need to hear this. Good morning.
Yeah, news for those procrastinators. Christmas is less than 2 weeks away, but for last-minute shoppers on a mad dash to the shopping finish line, some good news. There are still deals to be had. With 11 days until Christmas, Americans are trying to find out if those last-minute deals are naughty or nice.
So overwhelmed by all these sales. I swear they've been going on for days, and it's like each company is trying to outdo the other company.
In the final days of the holiday shopping rush, retailers are pushing sales to reel in shoppers. The same stress of mall crowds likely crushing your inboxes too.
The holiday season has somehow reactivated email lists that you absolutely unsubscribe to.
After Black Friday, stores are still trying to woo consumers with further discounts. So how do you wade through the sales? Good news for those last-minute shoppers looking for presents for the kids. Prices are dropping for toys and for some other popular items.
The best deals will be in electronics, appliances, and toys. We'll continue to see prices drop in each of those categories.
Some electronics are even more discounted than on Black Friday. The season has also brought steep sales for clothing and furniture. But how about what to skip? But if you're looking for some warmer bedding for the winter, wait until January when retailers tend to have deals on linens, according to NerdWallet. Look for outdoor yard equipment in the spring and fall. And you may find even bigger sales the weekend before Christmas. But for toys, a word of caution. Patience could get you a deeper deal in the final days of the season, but waiting too long could risk empty shelves.
Oh, excuse me. Yes? I'm trying to find a gentleman doll. Me too, me too. Do you have any more in the back?
For those not racing against turbo time, a bit more calm, even with shopping left to do in mid-December. You didn't, miss out all that much.
I didn't miss out. There's still a lot of sales going on.
And by the way, a final tip, use price tracking tools like Camelizer and Honey, even for stuff you've already bought, because if you see something cheaper, you can take a look at the store's policy. You might be able to get a partial refund. It depends on when you bought it, but giving it a shot could save you a few extra bucks. So.
I've never done that. I'm always nervous to be like,
oh, we are,
hey, we're cheaper.
We are very good at going back in places and getting money back,
and with the
even returning it and getting it back again.
The holiday policies are very flexible.
Yeah.
You can go back and get those extra.
All right, there you go. Brian, you'll have to teach me. You'll have to give me the script.
Exactly.
Thanks, Brian.
right, we're going to stay on your money with the latest read on unemployment in America.
That's right. NBC Silvana Hanau is back with us with those numbers, some other headlines for us as well. Hey, Silvana, good morning.
Hey, Savannah. Hey, Joe. Good morning. Yeah, so we are just getting a fresh snapshot on the economy and the labor market a day after the Federal Reserve signaled it may cut interest rates 3 times next year. Jobless claims down 19,000 to 220,000. Analysts were expecting around 224,000. All right, Mattel plans to make a live-action film based on its American Girl doll line following the blockbuster success of the Barbie movie this year. Barbie had the biggest opening of the year when it debuted in July. American Girl was founded in 1986, and Mattel says sales fell 13% in the third quarter of this year. In February, it said it would relaunch Barney, hoping to tap into nostalgia by millennials who grew up with the purple dinosaur. Fries are the most ordered food item on DoorDash, but chicken quesadillas, garlic naan, and fried rice aren't that far behind. The delivery service is out with its annual Dash from the Past trend report, and it says 2023 was a big year for finger foods, from fries to mozzarella sticks, pizza, and wings. Fruits and veggies made up the majority of grocery orders because, well, you know, balance. The most unexpected food pairing, though, hot sauce and cinnamon twist.
Huh.
Yeah.
What?
Oh.
I know.
I'm not taste testing
that. Sounds like a dare, right? That sounds like a dare.
Don't even bring it up. He's like, let's try it on set next week.
I'm intrigued. We can do it with the nacho cheese liquor from yesterday.
Let it try. Why not? Right. Silvana, thank you.
Sure.
Here's some food I like. There's nothing like a home-cooked meal, especially this time of year. Not everyone, though, has the means or ability to make their own, and that's where a global nonprofit serving lasagnas full of love comes in. And as reporter Kelsey Marrier from our Minnesota affiliate KTTC found out, it's more than just gifting a dinner to those in need.
There's something about a meal made from scratch that just tastes a little better. In March of 2020, a mother in Hawaii was looking for a way to help moms in her community. She and her toddler started making and delivering meals to families in the neighborhood who were struggling. And from there, Lasagna Love was born.
Lasagna Love serves anybody and everybody.
Its purpose is to spread kindness by crafting a fresh, layered, delicious pasta dish right to your doorstep. No questions asked, no payment required.
Whether they can't cook or they're disabled or it's a mom struggling.
It's now a global nonprofit with around 45,000 volunteers in the U.S. alone.
As of May, we've delivered more than 350,000 lasagnas, impacting more than 1.5 million families and individuals.
Nan Maniage has been a volunteer chef with the organization for more than 2 years. She's also currently the regional director for Minnesota and Wisconsin.
I love the mission. I love that it's no judgment. I love that we're just here to help people and show that there is still kindness in the world.
She tells me right now there are roughly 120 volunteers preparing meals in Minnesota, with close to 30,000 deliveries across the state since its inception.
It's just the satisfaction that you feel that you know you gave that family something for a night that they wouldn't have otherwise gotten.
Here's how it works. After an individual or family signs up, a local volunteer will reach out to coordinate a free delivery.
You can request every 28 days. We do all dietary needs.
There is no standard recipe, making each dish unique.
We pay for all our own ingredients. Our time, everything is strictly volunteer.
The home-cooked lasagnas can be delivered ready to eat or refrigerated to enjoy later.
It is all non-contact. They will leave it on a bench, on the front porch, by wherever, again, they choose to have it dropped off.
The organization also aiming to eliminate stigmas associated with asking for help when it's needed most.
It's actually very rewarding because you never know what someone's going through.
Nan says you can help continue spreading kindness, feeding families, and strengthening communities, one lasagna at a time.
Our thanks to Kelsey Marrier for that story. Lasagna Love is always in need of volunteer chefs. Anyone who signs up just sets their availability, how far they can drive, and how many meals they can deliver. All right, coming up, 2023 was indeed a year made for memes.
Of course it was. After the break, we're taking a look at TikTok's top trends over the past year. It turns out, yes, a lot of people think about the Roman Empire quite often. We'll talk about all that after this.
Welcome back. TikTok has published its roundup of the biggest trends of 2023. Let's start with the hashtag Girl Dinner. As everyone knows by now, this is the name for those random foods from your kitchen that you put together to eat as like sort of a kind of meal. Then there's the Roman Empire. This was just too good. The idea that men think about the ancient civilization a scary and shocking amount. Also, the McDonald's Purple Grimace Shake spawned a series of creative mini horror movies on TikTok. And on the theme of movies, a lot of us pretended to be in Wes Anderson films.
Very symmetrical. Very symmetrical.
And last but not least, this is one we actually covered here. Beige flags, not quite white, not red either, though, not quite green, you know, for go. Beige flags are funny, quirky, sometimes weird traits that you might discover about your partner.
Huh.
Do you know your beige flag?
No. What's yours?
I don't open the mail.
Oh, like, why?
I just don't know. Julian has to walk away. It kind of like stresses me out. I'm like, if somebody really needs to get in touch with me, they have an electronic way of doing so. Bad at it.
So don't be a pen pal with Savannah.
Yeah.
All right.
My husband will eventually find it and be like, this came for you months ago. So there you go.
All right.
You're gonna think on yours.
I am sending you a letter now. All right. A high school student in Arizona made the basketball shot of his life, an incredible moment that caught the eye of one NBA star who also knows a thing or two about making amazing shots. NBC's Stephen Romo has their story.
It's a tussle for the basketball. Facing pressure on all sides with just seconds left on the clock, junior Tonati Ramirez making a little bit of magic. Sinking that buzzer beater during Liberty High School's first ever unified intramural game. His classmates inside this packed Peoria, Arizona gym storming the court to celebrate. Ramirez, who most of his friends just call T, is part of a program that brings together students with disabilities and general education students through sports.
I always believe myself. Always.
A perfect outlet for this teen whose eyes are set on much bigger goals.
He wants to be a professional. He told me, Mom, I said, I have to do it.
What T didn't know as he sunk that glorious shot was that the end of this game was the beginning of something even more special.
Oh my God.
The video catching the attention of T's favorite professional basketball player after it aired on NBC Nightly News.
You and your family are going to get to go to the game, but you're going to get to arrive early because there's somebody that wants to meet you there. Do you know who that is? His name's Steph Curry.
The Warriors letting T suit up for the pregame warm-ups with Curry, giving him a signed jersey and hooking him up with the best seats in the house. But the best gift of all, some words of encouragement from his icon, the team sharing that moment on their TikTok account.
My dream is to be a professional basketball player and be like you.
You have a confidence in yourself just like you did in that video?
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do, man.
A once-in-a-lifetime pep talk from his sports hero, leaving T with even more encouragement to reach for the stars. Stephen Romo, NBC News.
Well, here in New York City, it's not always possible to put up an elaborate holiday display in your front yard because you might not have one. But one man found a unique way to show off his annual handmade work in a parking garage. Reporter Gus Rosendale of our New York station here, WNBC, has the details.
Javier Sanchez is a man who wants everyone to embrace the spirit of the holiday season.
There's so much joy on their faces, and it really pays off all this hard work into the village. It is a lot of joy. I take people back to their childhood.
Easy to walk by his Upper East Side workshop, an underground parking garage beneath the Continental high-rise apartment building on 79th and 2nd.
I had to take a double take. It was fabulous. I love it. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you.
For 13 years, between parking cars, he sets up and designs an annual lavish holiday display.
It's amazing. Mama. Yeah, you tell Mommy you come to see the lights? Yeah. It's so awesome.
Hundreds of volunteer hours, including his days off.
More trains and a new waterfall.
He splits between $2,000 and $3,000 in cost every year between himself, colleagues, and donors.
There's so much joy on their faces, and it really pays off all this hard work into the village.
A river flows through it. A ski lift flies over it, and it is all handmade, direct from the heart. Javier, quick to say, this is a display for everybody. In fact, the first thing you see when you come down the ramp is this Hanukkah display, and he designed these ornaments to form the letter U. U standing for unity.
I think it is a very special way to celebrate and be all in one piece of unity.
How sweet is that? Our thanks to Gus for that festive report.
You're pulling into a parking garage in New York. You're a little stressed out, and you look and you see that.
Also, his handiwork is impressive. All those
really
tiny little things. Oh, that puts you in the spirit.
That is going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now. The music puts you in the spirit, too, right?
So does that tree. And look at our logo on the ice rink. How fancy are we? The news continues right now. Don't go anywhere.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.